There's Davante Adams talking about, yeah, this is really not such a big deal. All of the conversation that has surrounded Rodgers' future since the moment they drafted his apparent replacement in Jordan Love. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, look, Aaron Rodgers is a high-end performer. The very highest end of performers in terms of, you know, how well he has conducted himself throughout his career and what he has accomplished. And I think guys who are at that end of the spectrum are always, look, we talk about it all the time. They're always looking for ways to continue to motivate themselves to reach even higher highs because they pretty much have done it all in their entire career. This is just one of those things that although he may not articulate publicly that it is something that is, you know, definitively driving him, there's no question that the quote-unquote disrespect that maybe he is being shown indirectly at this point in time in his career in terms of us all talking about when is the end coming for him. He may not be saying it publicly that it's motivating him, but it has to be motivating him because look, what else is there at this point in time? He's accomplished everything. He's a surefire Hall of Famer. I don't care if they've underachieved as a team or not during his tenure there in terms of winning Super Bowls. This is a guy who is looking for edges. Everyone looks for edges, and this is just another thing to really catapult him here into the twilight of his career and really have him continue to play at the level that we're accustomed to seeing him play. So we can downplay it. His teammates can downplay it rather all they want. You know this is something that is burning deep inside of him. We're all motivated when we are doubted, and people are doubting Aaron right now. People are questioning whether or not, regardless of whether they've added weapons or not, that is he the same player? Can he be that guy that they could put this organization on his back and he can carry them to the promised land? I'm sure that's something that he hears and that's something that he feels and something that's going to catapult him this year.
And look, not only do I agree with you, but I will add to it that while all of us have pointed out that by his own lofty standards, he didn't necessarily have a great year last year, Hembo did send me this morning. There are 2 seasons in NFL history in which a quarterback has thrown for 4,000 yards and fewer than 5 interceptions. 2 seasons in history. It was Aaron Rodgers last year and Aaron Rodgers the year before, and that's it. So I think most people will take that. So Jeff Saturday, let me come to you. What if I told you there was a wide receiver available right now for practically no money that has caught 16 touchdowns in his last 16 games? Would that interest you if you were Aaron Rodgers?
Absolutely, it would interest me. I mean, you know, when Lewis is making his points about, you know, how is Aaron being motivated, not only did it motivate you because they drafted your heir apparent, which shows that they are already thinking you're not what you once were. It's also they didn't help you. They didn't give you any help to get better. Right? I mean, Davante Adams said, hey, we expected him to draft a wide receiver. Of course they did, right? Everybody in the business thought that was going to happen. So now, not only did you draft my heir apparent, you didn't give me any help. Would Antonio Brown walking in help that roster? He would help any. It's just a matter of, can you get through the 8 weeks with Antonio Brown laying low, not doing anything off the field that would jeopardize it? But to think that he would walk in and make Green Bay a better team offensively, he absolutely would. So if you're Aaron Rodgers, how much pull do you really have? That's the problem. How much pull? They've shown you don't believe in you. Can you walk in the general manager and say, hey, man, I need this guy? Are they listening? Who knows? That's the question.
Jeff Darlington, we've heard Baltimore, as Lamar Jackson has come out and talked about Antonio Brown. We've considered Seattle. There were some comments from Pete Carroll the other day. We haven't heard Green Bay. What is your sense of all this?
Well, look, I mean, the egregious failure of the Green Bay Packers is not drafting Jordan Love. It's not adding a wide receiver after, by the way, losing Geronimo Allison and Jimmy Graham here. So, yes, there is an obvious need when it comes to adding a wide receiver. I can tell you certainly that Baltimore and Seattle are the 2 teams that have expressed the most interest both publicly and behind the scenes. That being said, it's going to take a really stable organization in terms of the coaching staff, and I'm not saying Matt LaFleur is not that. I think he's got a very bright future. Is he willing to take that on now? Remains a major question. I personally think that, yeah, the Packers should add Antonio Brown, but to date, they have not proven to have the desire to put these kinds of weapons around Aaron Rodgers, so I'll believe it when I see it.
So, Lewis, let me come back to you. This is the way I feel I'd be looking at it if I were the person running that organization, and that's something you know 1,000 times more about than I ever will. But if I've got Aaron Rodgers for 2 more years, I'm going to try and do everything I possibly can to try and win a championship while I have this all-time great talent. And again, Antonio Brown, we all understand it is a risk, but from that standpoint, it would feel to me like a risk worth taking. How would you view it from that standpoint?
Well, yeah, if that was my line of thinking, yeah, it would make sense. But see, I would kind of back up and say this. If we're going to do everything we can over the next 2 years to win another championship and maximize Aaron's talents before we move on down the road, then why didn't we do something before this? Why didn't we address it in the draft? Why didn't we get a young talent that could help us both now and later on? Which leads me to believe this. And, Jeff, and Jeff, both of you guys, I would say this. How much pull, when you ask the question, how much pull does Aaron have in the organization at this point in time? I don't know, because I think this, Brian Gutekunst, who's the general manager there, and Mark Murphy, who's the team president, they're the ones who have the pull. They're the ones who are pulling the strings and have the juice. They're not listening to what Aaron wants, because if they were, we wouldn't even be in this position where now we're talking about a player who unquestionably is a first ballot Hall of Famer, but is a guy who you can't trust. We wouldn't even be talking about it. But we're in this position because they aren't necessarily thinking the same way we're sitting here thinking, on Get Up this morning. They're not thinking that way.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.